Of course. Of course. So hello, everyone again. Hello to all the beautiful students that I see here. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me once again, Harry. And greetings from Greece. So I'm Maria, a teacher from Greece. I have been teaching for many, many years, like more than I can remember, around 25, I think. So I've been teaching English as a foreign language, but I've also taught English in the UK, in summer camps in the UK. So I've also taught English as a second language. Lately, I've been finishing my MA studies in my field, which is Applied Linguistics and TESOL, which means Methodology and Pedagogy of Teaching. And I must say that I'm very happy because I'm one of these privileged people who do what they love. So I love my work, and my motto is do what you love what you do. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I feel honored and humbled.
So we equally are so fortunate to be with you today. And one more thing I would like to tell you, I have been following you for a few years since we both came to know each other. And the more interesting fact about your teaching is language games. So the way you teach your students using these amazing games, that's what attracted me towards your teaching and the way you taught. That's the reason probably for making this today's session a reality for my students as well as my colleagues. So let me ask one of my students to ask you a question. So who is going to ask the first question?
Sir, can I?
Lohita, you go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Lohita Girja. I am studying 8th grade. My hobbies are reading books, playing games, watching TV, and dancing. My future ambition is to become an English teacher. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Of course you can.
Is there any game which can help students to learn pronunciation?
Oh, that's a very interesting question, Lohita. Lohita, how do you call yourself? Lohita? Did I say it correctly? Lohita. Okay. So if you want to be an expert in pronunciation, I suggest, for your age and for your level, I suggest you practice tongue twisters. Do you like tongue twisters? You know, like red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, and things like that. She sells at the seashore. These are tongue twisters. You know what? I had a look at your questions, the questions you sent me, Harry, and because we had this conversation before, I kind of prepared a mini presentation. So if you allow me, I could share my screen and show you samples of my work, although as I told you, I am not allowed to show the students in my school, but I am allowed to show samples of my work.
Yeah, sure. You can do it. You can do it now.
Mm-hmm. So I would like to say today that what I have prepared, though, is for my A1 level, okay? Because my experience is vast. So I kind of, because of what Harry has been watching lately from me, has mainly been from game activities in A1 level. So I will presenting you a sample of this today. And maybe another time we could meet again and I could show you samples for B1 level, B2 level, maybe C1, more complicated activities. So I would take Deppy's question now, and then if you allow me, I will start my presentation.
Yeah, you please go ahead and present.
Yeah. Okay. So let me start. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Let me try to make it Make it. How can I make it bigger than this? Just a second, because I would like to make it bigger than this, make it presentation mode. Okay.
So,
Oh, sorry. Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, lovely. So I'm here to present to you games in the classroom. Because play is our brain's favorite way of learning. I think you all agree, especially you students, you know, and teachers, we all know that through games, we learn better. So why use games in the classroom? First of all, because they motivate the children, they motivate our learners, and they are a great classroom management tool. Listen up, teachers. Okay, this is for teachers. Second, because games hone the problem-solving skills that our learners can evolve, like strategic thinking and planning, and it's like a brain workout. Then, because of the collaboration patterns that are again evolved, we have team building that also builds support. We have competitiveness, but it is controlled. Yes, I mean, children in one team, they might support each other, and then in the other team, they might compete with each other. So they learn, they gain social skills. And then another reason is mental cognition, because like I said, it's a brain workout. Your memory, you get to train your memory, you think and act quickly. And of course, because it is always a positive experience. You know, when you play games, all of you and all of us, there are some hormones called endorphins. I don't know if you know them. It's a Greek word, endorphins. These hormones stimulate the brain and you get a feeling of euphoria. You get excited. Ooh, I did it. So you want to do more and more and more. And this creates and develops a positive learning environment. And lastly, because of self-expression, you express your creativity, you express yourselves, learners of all ages. It doesn't matter if you are very young or if you're adults. Through games, you express yourself. And you know what? Games accommodate multiple intelligences. So I don't know if you know, Gardner, who is a professor, and his theory about multiple intelligences, most probably your teachers know about these. There are many and different kinds of intelligences to us all. Some people are very logical. Yes, we have the logical intelligence. You are smart because of your logic. Some others like to read words a lot, so you are smart linguistically. Some others are very good at communicating with other people, so they are people smart, and some others know to they prefer to work on their own, and they're very good at preparing things in their own good time. So that makes you an interpersonal intelligent person. Some others are musical geniuses, and that makes them music smart. Some others, and I think most of the kids that at least I have seen, or should I say also adults as well, are really bodily kinesthetic smart. So when we move, we can think better, we can think more clearly, thus we can understand better. And then most of us, again, are visual smart. It means we can see nice pictures like this, big letters like this, and they help us, again, understand and perceive and take in knowledge. And very often, especially the ones who are close to nature, maybe not, I don't know, maybe not us city people, but the ones that are born close to nature are nature smart, and they can understand things better when they are closer to nature. That's why we have forest education, by the way, these days. So another very important thing that games do is that they develop our emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is one of the 21st century skills that we all need to have and acquire. So emotional intelligence, which means that we are open not only through our minds, but also through our heart. We can understand, we can perceive through feeling as well. And that happens through kinesthetic awareness. Our body can tell us a lot about our feelings. It helps us become aware and act accordingly. The development of kinesthetic intelligence is an important tool that contributes to a harmonious and balanced life. So this is why we need games. And I'm giving you now here a sample of classroom materials, the very, very basics. So apart from colors, apart from pencils, I mean markers, pens, and stuff like that, number one for me are flashcards for both my adult students and my very young ones. And when I say flashcards, it can be ready-made, it can be cutouts, it can be laminated, handmade. Then we have blocks, all kinds of blocks. The ones that you, I don't know, play with, plastic ones, wooden ones, even some special ones from Jenga. I don't know if you know the game. Then all sorts of different realia like clothes, accessories. We use them in the classroom to play games and role plays. And we also have a softball to throw to each other to break the ice, you know, to do icebreakers. And we have a skipping rope, which because sometimes in the classroom we want to do some games which involve a lot of action, a lot of movement, because like I said before, students and actually learners can be bodily kinesthetic. So in order for the brain to work, they need to move. And then we also use Philly bags. Do you know what a Philly bag is? May I ask, anybody knows what a Philly bag is? I will pause here. Anybody knows? No? Well, it's a bag. Let's say like this, yes, and you put some things inside, and then a student can close their eyes, okay, with a scarf, and can put their hand inside, and then they describe what they can touch and can feel. So they make predictions, yes, for example, in this case now, I have some I have some colored sticks, yes, that I also, again, use for other games when I use my Philly bag. So this is a Philly bag. And then, of course, a dice. Yes, a dice. You throw it. And you know what? There are also digital dice. If you are still doing Zoom sessions, you can find you can find a lot of digital games and online tools that can help you. And of course, hula hoops, because these round hula hoops, again, you can have them to play games where children can hop inside, hop outside, and at the same time, combine this with some lexical goal. Yes, maybe they can say every time, oh, I wish I could show you those videos with my students doing it. I have them compete with each other in 2 teams, okay? And they go rock, paper, scissors, and the one who wins the rock, paper, scissors goes first, jumps inside the hula hoops, and they are only allowed to jump inside the hula hoop only if they can recognize the flashcard that lies on the floor right next to the hula hoop. Don't worry, I know how to make this easier for you. At the end of this session, I'm going to give your teacher here, Hari Krishna, some resources, some websites, okay, that I also use, and they are a source of inspiration for myself as well, and they're free for everybody. You can visit them and you can have lots of ideas to organize and schedule your lessons as well. So these are just some of the realia, and of course color sticks like the one that I showed you before, and colored cups. Yes, we use cups to play music when we move them or when we jump over them. Or again, you will see how I have some images later in my presentation, and you can find them in different sizes and shapes. And then, of course, mini boards, okay? Not only the main board, but we use a lot of mini boards. Now, mini boards sometimes could look, let me show you. They could look like this. This is just a laminated piece of paper. Just a laminated piece of paper. My background makes it vanish. So sometimes I create the mini boards for my students, okay? And sometimes they can buy them from the store next to their house. And then, of course, sticky notes. We work a lot with sticky notes. Let me show you what I mean. This is an example of sticky notes. Yes, yes, they stick everywhere, and you can use them to have students write instead of writing in the regular notebook. When you have them write in different places, it feels exciting to them, yes, than just sticking to the old-fashioned notebook. Sometimes they want to write in other surfaces. It makes the whole procedure more fun to them. I think somebody has a question. Should I take it now or wait for later, Harry? What do you think I should do?
Yeah, have you finished your explanation?
Okay, so I'm moving on now to show you some of the activities that we are doing in the classroom. This is an activity that is called Find Somebody Who. I think you know it, you must have known it. It's a mingle activity. Everybody gets together. They have this piece of paper. They're holding this piece of paper, as you can see here. Everybody has two papers, actually, one big one, like the one you can see here, plus another one, a secret card. So they all go each other and they ask, and they practice the structure. Have you got? Yes, I have. Or no, I haven't. Sorry. And they go around asking people. Now, I play bingo a lot with my students, and very often I make bingo out of punch files. You know, I just take a colored piece of paper, like you can see here. I put it inside a punch file, and then I write on it with board markers. And then I can erase it also. So we practice the alphabet, we practice vocabulary and new lexes that we have learned. And in the same way, very often, I also practice tic-tac-toe, you know, tic-tac-toe, the other game. Here is them playing bingo, and here is my students. Some of my recent, I had to make them cartoonistic to show you how we spread, for example, flashcards on our desks. We have mini desks for the little ones, and how this is a memory game, a very fun game. They try to find the bear. And this one, if you can see my photo moving, again, is flashcards with side words. Right? And you can put them on the board or you can put them on the floor, and the students can match them. And when they finish matching them, they can write the new vocabulary on the mini boards, if you can see. So I make some remarks on my board, like pay attention to B, for example, pay attention to D, B for blue, and D for red, so that we associate blue with blue and D with red, and we don't confuse them because they're easily confused. And then lots of games with flashcards. I will be showing you a lot of different examples of flashcard games. This is where I give them 2 decks of alphabet cards, and I ask them to look on the board where I have written down the alphabet, and then I ask them, can you put it in the right order? And they do, and they feel very proud that they did that. And then again, this game, I call it letter hunting or letter fishing, because I lay the flashcards on the floor, like in 2 big bowls, and I have my students in 2 teams. And then I give them timers, usually digital timers with nice music in the atmosphere. I'm sure Harry has watched one of these videos, which I have uploaded, but it's it's a closed group that unfortunately now is only allowed to watch this from the school. And then I put mini boards around the classroom and I asked them to go and go and find the beginning word, right? For example, find all the cards that begin with B, begin with K, begin with do. Like I said, these are very basic, very elementary games. But like I said, this presentation is based on my A1 level activities. And then I use, like I said, all sorts and different kinds of flashcards. These are mini ones that you can combine one next to each other and you can make words. So you learn how to spell when you do this. By the way, this is an international brand. It's called ESL, ESL, let me remember, ELC Learning, and you can order it online or you can find it in some very special shops. Really worthy and quality material. I mean, really good. But sometimes I don't buy the flashcards. I don't buy ready-made. I make them myself, like in this case. Okay, I just take cardboards, piece of colored cardboards, and I cut my my flashcards. Plus, like I told you, in my classroom, I like to have a little bit of everything. These are my cubes. These are my SWATs. When we play the SWAT this game, these are accessories, different accessories. Here is my skipping rope, and here's a big basket. I don't know if you can see it very well, with different clothes, because when we do fairy tales, when we narrate fairy tales in the classroom, which again, it's a fantastic and marvelous way for learners to remember vocabulary, because and I don't mean watching the fairy tale, I mean narrating it. Yes, the teacher reading a book and the students listening to the teacher and wearing different clothes and accessories and pretending or in enacting the actual story at some point. First, the teacher reads it, and then later, much later, the students themselves wear maybe a crown, or maybe, it depends on the story, detective's glasses, yes. And this role play makes them remember the lexis, the vocabulary, much better next time, plus the structures. Again, another mix of both ready-made and handmade flashcards. I've asked them to find flashcards, alphabet cards, and flashcards and combine them together in another letter hunt that I had given my students. Here is a little bit more advanced, almost A2, I would say, where we practiced countable and uncountable objects, and specifically food. And I had this mini cards, as you can see, and I made the cards in my kitchen. There are many, there isn't much. So I asked them to individually, in pairs or in mini groups, to separate them. Of course, I had some board work also ready for them. And I asked them to decide which ones go with many, which ones go with much. Collaboration is key, let me remind you. But like I said, we play lots of memory game with any types of cards. And we use colored sticks, like the one that I brought out of my Philly bag, like I told you. Now this, we use them in different ways. First of all, we can count, we can categorize them, classify them according to their colors. I use them a lot. Sometimes I write questions on one side and answers on the other, and I ask them to match them. Sometimes I write lexis, right, vocabulary on them, and then I have remember what I told you, little sticky notes, and on these sticky notes I write the translation. So what you see here is actually Greek, it's not English, and I ask them to find the translation. Interesting, they find it very interesting as well. sometimes I use these sticky notes again when I'm narrating stories, and I've written on feelings on them, like nervous or scared or cheerful, happy, excited, in different colors, yes? So as we narrate the story, I ask them to show me, how do you feel right now when I'm narrating, for example, this really sad story? So they pick the relevant color stick. Very often, and this is one of their favorite activity, we do board races. I don't know if you practice this, but usually, again, I divide my students in 2 teams, and one of them, and sorry, this is we usually do this for dictation, you know, instead of just writing down and giving them lexical items and vocabulary and asking them to write them down. We do this, we say, okay, everybody stand up, 2 teams, get your pens, make a line in front of your board, because we have 2 boards, one for one team and one for the other. Or if we don't, on the same one, I just, divide it in the middle. I want you to, Team A and Team B, I want you to write down as many words as you remember from, for example, the clothes that we practiced. So they start writing gloves, hat, glasses, sunglasses, shoes, socks. Yes, and when they finish, of course, I give them time, always give them time. And when they finish, each team checks the other team. Let's see, is your spelling correct? So I don't get to check. The peers check each other, right? Which makes it even more interesting, because you're also like a teacher when you play this game. Then again, this is another example of the reasons there are to practice countable and uncountable words. So as you can see, my students have divided the mini cards that we have in the school. What can we say that there is, and what can we say that there are, or how many are there? And again, the cubes that I mentioned in the beginning, I've made these cubes. They're very, very easy to buy. I mean, I buy them plain, okay? And I draw the letters on them. So this is for my juniors, okay? And they create their first words. And this is a mixture, a mix of cubes and mini boards. So every time they manage to assemble a word, then I ask them to match it to the relevant flashcard, and then I ask them to write it down on their mini board. So they practice, yes, they practice a lot of things at the same time. So they write, they synchronize hand and eyes at the same time, and this is a very synthetic procedure. They are doing a lot of things at the same time, but they don't realize it, and that's for the teachers to know, not for the students. Here are the sticky notes, and how many different ways there are for you to use them. Yes, for example, you can conjugate verbs. I give them I give them mini sticky notes on an A4 paper, but they are jumbled, and they have to put them in the correct, not order. They have to conjugate the verb I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, yes, or to combine some of the objects here with my, for example, your, his, her, like my doll, your hat, our sofa. And again, learners of all ages, they just really love to do things with their hands, right? This is what we call experiential learning. Another activity, when we were learning the time, right? Again, like I said, I had them create this out of cardboard. Very, very easy. So it's, you will learn the time so much faster when you actually create your own clock. Trust me on this, try it. And of course, I have this pack with really fantastic flashcards that are actually rather thick, and I use them sometimes when I want them to create a story of their own. So I have the students pick from a deck of cards like randomly, and then they look at their cards, and then I get them in a circle, right? And as they are in the circle, I ask the first one to start. Okay, the first one always has the once upon a time card. And then the second one, depending on the card that he or she holds, the story might be completely different. The story might go once upon a time in a palace in India. There was a magic tiger, says the next one. And then the tiger had a friend. And who was the friend of the tiger? The snake, the red snake, etc., etc. Maybe we can try this together later. This is another activity that I like to use with my learners, and it's called My Monster, Your Monster. So what do we do in this activity on the right? Yes. We do this in pairs. So I draw on a piece of paper my monster. My monster might have 3 eyes, might have 2 noses, 3 noses, 5 ears. Yes. And when I finish, I don't say anything. I draw it secretly. And then my companion does the same. And when we finish, we say, okay, now I challenge you. Can you draw my monster, but without seeing it? I will narrate to you how my monster looks, and you will try to draw it based on what I tell you. So I go like this. Okay, my monster has a round face, or my monster has a square face. So the other one draws a round face. Yes, exactly. My monster has got red hair, or 3 eyes, yes, or 5 teeth, and it goes like this. I can show you a video afterwards how this is done. And of course, I don't know if you like making crafts. One of my little one's favorite craft is where we draw a hand. Yes, we draw a hand, and then I ask them to include in, of course, this is always their hand, and then I ask them to write some really basic information about them, like to introduce themselves. So they say how old they are, they say their name, their favorite color, they say what they have got or haven't got. Maybe we can practice structures that we have been practicing lately, but you can do this with more advanced students as well. You can do this with essay writing or story writing. I will tell you about this another day because it's for more advanced levels. Here are the cups that I told you in the beginning. Yes, with these cups, again, you can practice pronouns, personal pronouns. I have these, this deck of cards, I must admit, are Uno cards, but they're very, very old. I haven't been able to find them in the market ever since. And you can see nice children figures. So my students really like using them. So when a boy does it, okay, I is for himself, U is for, he picks a girl, he is for a boy, she is definitely for a girl, is for a dog, because as you can see here, there's a dog. We is when 2 of them are together, etc., etc., etc. And of course, this is when I ask them to describe what you consider my from these flashcards, your or his or her. And believe me, the learners really like to play with cups and flashcards and create instead of just writing down sentences. I think you know what I mean. And here's for an example of a sentence they created, because they picked from the pronouns on the left and the pronouns on the right, and they created they from the left, like their pencils. And you see how they match the flashcard with the correct cap. And very often we dance in the classroom. We make choreos, and this is a choreo of the actual letters. Okay, I asked them, can you make the letter A? So they come in twos and they make a letter A. Can you make the letter B, C, D, E, F? Can you guess what letter they're making here? Write in the chat box if you can guess, guys. If I have any suggestions.
Ria, thank you so much. Actually, we have in this time slot, we have only 2 minutes time is left. If you don't mind, would you reconnect again one more time so that
yes,
we can continue with some questions,
yes,
because some colleagues are waiting for the questions.
Yes.
So as I think after going through your presentation, what I understood that you have been doing amazing work with your students. Your students are so fortunate to have such a talented and innovative teacher like you. We are also equally lucky today to have you as our guest, because you have a lot more resources. I think we have to we have to get lots of information from you. We are so keen now to interact with you. In the way of questions, we have so many questions to ask you. So I would like to end this. I would like to end this particular session right now, so that it enables the other participants to reconnect again, so that we can start a fresh session, and that will be the question and answer session.
Okay, let's do that.
So all the educators and my dear students, please reconnect one more time so that we can have a great session again, and with Ria. So see you within few seconds from now.
Okay, lovely.